Thank you everyone for attending, and we appreciate your presence here today. I look forward to having an engaging time with you. Today we'll be discussing Solution Manager 7.2, Test Suite Change Impact Analysis, and Component-Based Testing Automation. So just a quick agenda and introduction. So this is what we'll be discussing today. Introduction to CoreALM, Solution Manager 7.2 highlights, Test Suite, which will be done by Larry, and a quick Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So about us, CoreALM is a dedicated team of experts focused on digital transformations. We are a team of former SAP Solution Manager practice leads for North America, so we have a lot of experience in this space. We are a recognized leader with proven track record to deliver ALM services and work for top SAP clients like Apple, Microsoft, Coach, Nike. So this is some of the services offered by CoreALM. So as you can see, we have a wide range and breadth of services that we offer. But our main focus is, of course, Solution Manager and ALM Foundation. And here are some of the awards and accolades that we received over the years. So as I mentioned earlier on, this is a webinar for the SAP community, and we do this to give back to the SAP community. And we also run these webinars to understand where the community is at right now. So one of the first questions that we do is that we do ask, like, if you have upgraded to Solution Manager 7.2. So just let us know if you upgraded Solution Manager 7.2 so we can run out and cater our webinars based on that. Just give you a few more seconds for everyone to answer. All right, thank you. So I'm going to close the poll and show the results. So it's like a split between, half of the attendees have upgraded. So we will see why is it important to upgrade to 7.2 later on in this presentation. Okay, and now I'll hand it over to Larry Wilson, a Senior Solution Manager, testing practice lead and experienced consultant at CoreALM, to run through the Solution Manager highlights and his test automation presentation. All right, Larry.
Okay, thanks, Ivan. And need to change my screen here. That's better.
Presentation controls.
All right. Find that. Oh, here we go. Sharing. I want to show the screen, and actually, I want to show my second monitor here. So, good afternoon, good morning to everyone. Happy Friday. And as Ivan said, the topic today is change impact analysis and CBTA, the automation tools, and the processes that are included in that. But to begin with, I want to talk a little bit about Solution Manager 7.2 and briefly talk a little bit about where Solution Manager is at. So one part of Solution Manager is the ITIL tool. It's certified. It's the fully certified tool, and it was the first one in the world certified. And you can see that it's used for portfolio management, financial management for the IT services. Drilling them down a little bit further, research and action for SAP-centric environments. SAP is industry leading in the top quadrant. And another little information about 7.2. So 7.2 now, it uses the UI5 Fiori front end, which makes it a lot easier. So you've probably heard from SAP a lot of information about how we want to make it more simple and easier to use. So one of those things is really incorporated in 7.2, and it's the Fiori tiles that allow you to navigate easier within Solution Manager. Also within 7.2 in the Test Suite, and you'll see this, there's been a lot of changes. So over the years, Test Suite has not been a leading part of Solution Manager, but now in the past few years, and especially with 7.2, there's been a lot of improvements and innovation. So 7.2 Solution Manager is uses SAP HANA database, and as you can see here, there's no additional licensing with that. So it's a good way to start transitioning into HANA and using Solution Manager to use the HANA database. So the timeline again, and I think probably most folks are aware of this, the end of this year is time to upgrade before the end of the year. So 7.2 has been, it's a big change with Solution Manager, and a lot of the areas, there's a lot of new functionality, improvements to existing functionality. So it was ramp up last year, and this year we've been moving towards upgrading. Next is a Test Suite, an overview of Test Suite. So CBTA and Scope and Effort Analyzer and automation, those are the topics for today. But the Test Suite now is known as a full-blown application for manual and automated testing and change impact analysis. So what does this really mean? It means both SAP and non-SAP solutions Test Suite can be used for both. It means that there's a lot of scope in there, things that were already there, that automation has been there. A new part of 7.2 is Focus Build for Solution Manager, and it supports the agile development, and also the integration within CHARMS, ITSM, and solution documentation. And you'll see at the bottom that Solution Manager is the default test suite for all SAP customers. That means this is what SAP is recommending for managing testing. Now to get a little bit further into it, so this is the full test process flow. So it doesn't, this is how SAP works out, but the components of testing are the same, whether you're using SAP Test Suite or using other products. And so within the Solution Manager world, though, and this is one of the parts of getting the requirements and full line of sight from end to end of the testing and testing of requirements. So solution documentation in the original, when the initial implementation of SAP, that's where you build the folder structure, the hierarchy, the business processes, the documents, the BPPs, the config documents, and process library, so, and the hierarchy. Test cases are part of solution documentation. There's been a lot of improvements within 7.2 that really ties this all together. And it's not the topic today, but just from managing test cases, it's much easier with the solution, and then the branches and how that's managed, so that you know what really the most current manual or automated test case is. If you have before SharePoint or HPALM, you might have multiple versions of the same manual test cases or automated test cases, and you have to go back, and then there's a lot of effort and cost involved in going back sometimes when there's a project or an enhancement pack, and determine which one's the latest one. So solution documentation really is a major advantage with 7.2 of knowing what the latest and most current test case to use. After your initial implementation, though, everything's really going to work this way. You're going to do scope and effort analyzer. This is before an upgrade, meaning that you don't really want to install an enhancement pack in your development, especially, or have to build a sandbox to be able to do planning and see what's going to be in the enhancement pack. So there's two parts. You know, SAP is a ERP system, so it's a little bit different than if you're doing product development where you're keeping up with objects, which you would do with RISIF, but for the already delivered SAP, the differences are the configuration. So really determining what you're going to be testing and what the change is, business process analyzer and scope and analyzer are the first steps in an enhancement pack, and other changes, monthly releases and quarterly releases. So the next part of it, so we have test cases which reside in solution documentation, and then from the change impact analysis, we do test optimization. Test optimization selects the test cases that you have in solution documentation, creates a test plan, and from there test packages, and those are sequenced for end-to-end test days, for end-to-end testing, and then they're assigned to testers. You'll see this in the demo. And then finally is the test execution. You'll see this also a manual and an automated test execution. Defect management's included here, and all the test suite analytics of status reports, progress reports, dashboards, gap reports, and putting all of this, all the test cases and test plans and the execution together. And another part of Test Suite is TDMS, which does require a license, and this is to do a slice of data and move that into the testing system to support testing. And then Test Data Container supports the test automation framework and manual testing to when you're creating or finding your data and putting it together and reserving the data. You can put it in spreadsheets, and then CBTA uses it, and manual testing, test execution uses the data that you have set up. So test automation framework, CBTA, is component-based test automation. You'll see a little bit more about this in the demo of how that's organized. And then it's CBTA supports all the different UIs of SAP GUI, Web Dendro ABAP, CRM, Web UI, UI5 now, Fiori. And then partner tools take care of the other UI technologies, which are not SAP, or which are non-SAP. So if there's anything else, it would be covered in the other partner tools. So the main challenges with the upgrade. So these are the pain points that were perceived during SAP customer feedback. So the SAP asked, what are some of your main issues with EHP upgrades? So they're pretty expensive, and the reason they were is the planning phase. There was a lot of effort, cost and effort estimation, and then during the actual build phase, the testing, that was a big part of it. Again, the sandbox and no transparency. So SAP a few years ago developed and implemented Scope and Effort Analyzer. Again, this is for enhancement packs before deployment in a dev and sandbox. And for 7.2, the maintenance optimizer was replaced with maintenance planner, which is cloud-based. To give you a little bit better idea of how Scope and Effort Analyzer works, it works with the development, and it picks custom develops and modifications out of your quality system. It's going to pick up to do test scope optimization and calculate T-bombs. And then prod, that's where UPL and SC monitor is set up, and it captures the statistics. So the statistics go in and say this is what you're actually using. The T-bombs and the development objects are all read in. It goes into SAP through a firewall, and then it calculates from that what the objects are impacted. And from there, you can begin doing the test planning and test scope optimization. Maintenance planners, just 5 guided steps. So it is easy to use. That was one of the requirements. So selecting the system and assigning the plan, adding any additional systems, specifying where the special solution documents are, and test scope, and then review. And then from that, whether it's BPCA or Scope and Effort Analyzer, the results are going to come out of that and show you, or have the summaries and detailed information to be able to go through and do the planning. So BPCA is after. It's very similar, but what happens is BPCA runs against transports or against existing systems. So for example, you might have Scope and Effort Analyzer that you could do an enhancement pack on. The enhancement pack, you then install it. Once you install it, you would run BPCA to find out if there's what differences between what your plan was and what it is once you have it in the system and start making changes. So again, this is for support packs, enhancement packs, and determining what the critical process is affected by change. And so again, and change impact analysis for 7.2, there's different improvements, innovation, so they've added, continue to add things. And this kind of gives you a little better idea of change impact analysis and where it's used. So it's used in fix, enhancements, or innovation. So fix is a break fix, a standard change. It's small, can be daily or months. For example, a monthly maintenance activity, including changes of custom codes and custom objects. Enhancements would be functional enhancements requested by business users, and then innovation, that's a large innovation or transformation project that's large, and it's significantly changed our new business processes. And BPCA identifies processes and reduces the testing effort for regression testing. So test scope optimization, you'll see that in the demo shortly, and it provides a risk-based approach to testing. Again, this is one of the screens you'll see in the demo of BPCA, and the real reason that, that SAP is our BPCA and test scope optimization. So you have, for example, you have a business process A, which has 3 steps. And this one, you only need to test this impacted object, but in other tests, you need to be able to go through an end-to-end test to really test what's been impacted. So test scope optimization changes with the end-to-end test. It reduces the amount of effort you're going to have to do. So instead of having to test all the transactions and all the end-to-end tests, a lot of the testing will happen in end-to-end tests without redundancies. So here's return on investment. This was from TechEd in 2015. BNSF had 50% reduction in custom code modifications, 60% reduction in test execution effort, 70% reduction in test scope, 90% elimination of manual analysis. So that's a big part of the planning. 95% reduction in transport analysis for test scope coverage, and 99% test coverages for all releases. So the value proposition identifies business processes that are affected by changes, and then improves the change handling of the change events, and then test scope optimization provides risk-based planning. So now the question is, what is your time frame for deploying change impact analysis or automated testing? So and can you you'll get the if you'll go ahead and the poll is open now, and if you'll go ahead and answer the questions, and we'll give you the results. So is there are you planning on doing change impact analysis and or automated testing, and what is your time frame for doing that? Okay. So the results. And now want to move on to test framework and CBTA. So again, CBTA is automated test tool. It's been developed for several years. It evolved from SAP TAL, which was worked with HPALM. HPUFT also is a tool, but CBTA does everything that TAL, and then there's other additions that's been made to that. So it does cover UI5, and I'll show you that in the demo. So again, UFT would be mainly for non-SAP, or if there's any SAP UIs that would not be covered, then UFT could be used. So test automation framework. So the way this works is within Solution Manager 7.2. This is where it looks now, the hierarchies and the folder structures with executables and the business processes. And so from there, you create a test configuration. Test configuration covers CBTA, ECAT, UFT, WorksOff, Certify, and other automation tools through API. Configuration will include test data, and then there's a system under test, and this is the managed system that you're going to be going to, the ECC, CoreALM, or WebDenPro system that you're going to. So composite test, take individual business process test and puts those together in a composite test. So you'd have maybe, for example, CBTA 1, CBTA 2, then a HPUFT, and then a CBTA 4. So I think here, the business process expert. So after the test configuration is built and it's assigned, then the business process expert. This is a real advantage of CBTA when over maybe other ways of doing it, because it truly, with the improvements and innovation now within CBTA, you can get somebody's business process to go through and step through a test, the same they would do manually, and then that would end up creating a test script that's part of test configuration. So here's the process for creating CBTA and Test Suite. So the first is selection of solution documentation nodes. So within the hierarchy, for example, there's business processes, and then there's libraries that have executables and process steps. So within the sales scenarios, if you wanted to do an order to cash scenario or just an individual quotation, you launch that or you set it up within solution documentation. Next is going to be launching the tool. So the tool would go through, and you can see, for example, here, this is parameters that are within a creative quotation, and goes into the test tool and creates in the test composition environment to set up attributes, and then begin the next step, which would be recording a transaction that would be done by the business process expert. So record quotation, sales order, delivery, goods issues. So each one of these are different business processes. Again, think about a business process within CBTA or any tool. The process really, if you think about it like a VA03, which is a display a sales order, you could go in and look at a tab for the condition tab to check the net price. So that's one variation of VA03. Second variation of VA03 would be display the documents that have been that are associated with a sales order. So each one of those is a different objects that are used and a different process flow for automation. And then next is after the recording, you can go in, and within 7.2, one of the main features is if you found that you had a need to re-record, or there was an issue with a component, there's a lot of things you could do it. If a step wasn't needed, you could remove it, you could unexpose it, you can add if and else logic to handle a pop-up or branches. It's also, you can actually go back and start again and just record after a certain point. So it's much easier to use with those improvements. And again, assigning the data, this gives you a view of it. So there's parameters within CBTA, parameters are set up, and then for those parameters, the data is created and moved in to for manual and automated testing. And finally, the test classification, whether it's a regression test or single unit test. So test execution is the next part, so manual and automated test execution. And the way, this is the process for that. So in the tester work list, you'll see this, start an execution, it picks up the test script with the test data and system data, and any, or the test data would come from test data container. The execution hands this over to be executed and log in and run the test, and then the test results come back and logs come back to the tester work list. And there's 3 different ways to run the test configuration. One of them is with executing one by one, and that's what I'll show in the demo. But just so that you could execute multiple test packages for automation using different laptops, terminals, or virtual machines, and you could run those in parallel. So that's saves quite a bit of time there. And then paging, our next is 68 steps. This is an example of one of the tests that we had 68 steps and 5 users, end-to-end business process. And so it normally would take 2 to 3 weeks to do a test, meaning there's scheduling, you're using different groups, finance and supply chain and operations, and so each one of those would have to be scheduled. They may not be available. So there's a lot of advantages to it. But anyway, this one was 68 steps, ran in 38 minutes instead of 2 to 3 weeks. So the value proposition is identifies a test scope and reduces test effort, risk-based testing, knowing what to test. You don't test too much, and you don't test and you don't miss things. And then the automation is low maintenance for automated test scripts. Again, the repair part is easy to do, tied in with change impact analysis, and it reduces the cost. And finally is again, when you're with BPCA and scope and effort analyzer, one of the things that happens there is there's a lot of objects that get created. So if you're using third-party tools and not Solution Manager, there's a lot of data replication that has to go back and forth. So now the next poll question is, and you'll get a list of this, is would you like a individual demo? And you'll have a list of items that will show up for you now with the poll to see, to take a to capture that information. Okay. I think the poll is in progress. And go ahead and enter in the information.
All right, thanks, Larry, for the presentation. Are you going to do that as he transits into a demo right now? Just give him a few seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, done with the slides. So now we can go to the demo. So this is 7.2 Test Suite. You can see all the different options within Test Suite, and Business Process Change Analyzer. That's the first step, or first part of what we're focusing in today. So again, you can see support packs, enhancement packs, business function activation, transport requests. So this would be for a monthly release or quarterly release, objects or change transactions. And I'm going to go on down. So you set up this information and run it. And once it's set up, you do a run. And what returns back is a results file. And the results, whether it's from scope and effort analyzer or whether it's from BPCA, is going to land here as a results file. And this is where you're able to start doing the planning and the test scope optimization. So I'll give you a quick idea of what the objects are. This is just one object, ME31K, and with that object, can go in and take a look at the different types of objects that have been selected. And we can see is different object types. So you have forms, function, tables, views. So all the different objects that would be impacted. So again, BPCA is going to look at the transports that you have and compare those against the T-bombs that have been created for each one of the transactions or objects that you have, and then it's going to determine the test cases that need to be used. Again, for scope and effort analyzer, the objects are going to be it's going to be, instead of transports that you have in the system, it's going to pick those up from SAP Cloud. So next, for testing is test scope optimization. And test scope optimization, this is the real benefits. For example, this one for manual test effort would be 1,214 hours if you were to not have test scope optimization, but it's down to 72 hours. And again, what that is individual transactions or projects instead of our processes, instead of each object being tested individually, by optimizing that so that they are included and that they're only the execution tests that you're executing are going to be more like end-to-end tests than individual tests. So before optimization, 1,222, after optimization, 72.75. The next part of this is really solution documentation. So again, can look at a view of this by solution documentation, where it's included in the structure. And for this one, I had end-to-end scenarios set up. This one is procure to pay, and it has test cases in it, automated, and then there's a manual test case also, test cases included here. So procure to pay, that one was one of the ones that BPCA picked up. And then what happens next is you create a test plan from here. And the test plan is really like creating a new test plan. And the test plan has an ID, description, you put in test note, classification, plan, and start end date. And I've already done that for this demo. And so next, go over to the tester work list. And in the tester work list, that test plan that I created, I create a test package from that, and then now it's ready to be tested in a tester work list. In that one, I have a couple of automated tests. So this one was the one that was selected, end-to-end test for purchasing. So it's going to be, I'm going to run this one, and it's going to be creating a purchase requisition, creating a purchase order, printing the purchase order or for distribution, and then it'll do a goods receipt just to, so you have the concept of how this works. So each one of these is a test configuration, but the test that I'm executing now out of the tester work list is a test composite. And so it's going to create test or purchase requisition. And so that number, again, even if you're doing this manually, 48,251, you would have to write that down and then go on to the next test. But with a test composite, which is what I'm running, it's going to pass that, capture that as a parameter, and then pass it on to create a purchase order. So actually, the purchase requisition number gets entered on this line here. So you won't really see that number, but in the log, I'll be able to show that to you real quickly. And so purchase order will be created. There we go, 22511. So next, that purchase order is going to be distributed or printed, and it's going to be using the parameter that was created, 22551. It's going to get screenshots and checkpoints. So that was a screenshot of the purchase order itself. It's also checkpoints, which is the pass-fail information in automated test. So if you want to check the verification steps, those are all checkpoints. So now the goods receipt, 22511. So that's a composite, and it's passing the parameters from one to the other. And saving that goods receipt. And now that's complete. Next, there's a log that's going to be created, and yeah, here it is, and it captures all of the steps within the whole pass. So ME51N, here's the log, shows all the different components that were used, so modifying a cell, pressing buttons, and then here at the export part shows the message parameter that was that gets passed on. So again, that log is created. I'm going to do a refresh, and that log is going to be updated 801. So real quickly, we're getting near the end. Do have time to show you this one. This is running. This is a sales order within SAP Fiori demo system. So So this is the cloud demo system that SAP provides, and it's going to be just 2 individual business processes that are done. So the first one is creating a sales order, but this is first selecting a customer, and then so the customer selected. Next will be selecting a product. So it's a little bit slower than usual today. So select product 578. Going to add that to a cart. It's saved to the cart, and then next, going to go into the cart, and going to check that out of the cart. Then it's going to review shipping information. You could review it, add purchase orders or shipping instructions. This one is just a basic one for time reasons. And then now place the order. So the order, this is order that created 31252 in UI5 Fiori. And next, it'll show a list of orders and do checkpoints to make sure that it was created properly, 31252. So now doing a checkpoint plus capturing that sales order number as a parameter. And then the next part of, or the second test configuration in the test composite, number 2 is going to be tracking the sales order. So again, go back into the Fiori demo system, and so always a little bit of a delay here, and go down through the tile. So this demo system has other things, but just using this tracks the sales order. So here, selecting the same customer that we used to create the sales order, and now there's going to be a list of sales order. And next thing to do is just kind of show you this. The one I just created, 31252, is at the top, but just to show you that the parameter was passed. Going to go and clear it out, and then do a 31021, which is an earlier one that was done a week or so ago, and it'll select that one, and then do some checkpoints, pass-fail checkpoints to make sure everything's correct. And next, it's going to it'll now refresh and go back to the full list again. But the next SO31252 is the one that was saved as a parameter and passed from the create sales order, just to give you an idea of how this would work in UI5 Fiori. So kind of gives you an idea how the tool process. And just go back home, and again, there's going to be a log created here, so everything went well, everything's green. And now when I go back to my package in the tester work list, and I do a refresh here, I'm going to get log probably 802. Yep, log 802. So the log is there with it. This is a manual test case. I ran it earlier, so that's really not part of the demo, but kind of gives you an idea that you can have manual and automated tests running together if needed. So that's the end of the demo. Just wanted to summarize it, say, okay, the process is you run change impact analysis, you get the test cases that are you get a list of test cases that are impacted, you create the test plan. From a test plan, you can run those out of the tester work list, and the automation that you have set up already, those test cases are going to be easier to maintain because change impact analysis is identifying the objects that were impacted, and you'll know which component to go to change. You don't have to re-record everything. Just if a screen component or other components change that component in one place, and it's done everywhere. Okay, so now I'm going to pass it back to Ivan for questions.
All right. Thank you, Larry, for the presentation and demonstration. Just give me 1 second while I put my screen back. Okay, we're now going to begin answering questions that were submitted during today's presentation. As a reminder, you can still submit questions through the questions pane in your attendee control panel. Our first question is from Sean, and he is asking if there's a connection to SAP support backend required for SEA.
Is a to the backend system for SEA? No, there's for SEA there's no changes. So SEA the enhancement pack is within SAP Cloud. So you don't have to build a sandbox, or you don't have to install it anywhere. You don't have to install it in development or anywhere to be able to do a scope and effort analyzer.
Okay, I hope that answers your question, Sean. So I have another question from Anastasia. I think it's a two-part question. So for those currently using HPALM as a test management tool, will there be a way to import existing test assets, like test cases, test runs, test results, from ALM to Solution Manager Test Suite?
You can the way that would happen, the way you would do that is that you would generally just start new projects in Test Suite, and then finish up any projects or anything in flight in HPALM. The test cases that you have in HPALM can be downloaded and then added to Solution Manager.
Okay, and this is the second part of a question would be, does Solman Test Suite allow UFT scripts and execute them from Solution Manager? Does it have scheduling feature for automation of scripts?
Yes, it does. So HPUFT, you can run those scripts from Solution Manager. What was the second part?
The second part was a scheduling feature for automation of scripts.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that was on one of the slides. So I ran them one by one, but you can set them up in a test package and run that separately, or just by itself, or multiple packages that could go to different remote machines, laptops or desktops or virtual machines.
Okay, I have a question from Murali. Can we automate non-SAP applications, because we have warehouses which are integrated with our SAP application, so we want to automate it as well? Is it possible?
Yes. So again, that would be for non-SAP. You would use HPUFT, but it would fit within Test Suite, meaning that Test Suite, you can run those out of Test Suite. Of course, you know, for change impact analysis, if it's not SAP, you're not going to get the impact analysis on it. But yeah, UFT you can run out of Solution Manager. So it would be the same setup as you saw with running the end-to-end. You could have an end-to-end with UFT and run it the same as I ran CBTA.
Okay, hope that answers your question. We have another question from Vijay. How can we connect SAP SuccessFactors to Solution Manager 7.2? Is it even possible, like how ECC BW are connected to Solution Manager?
Can SuccessFactor be done within Test Suite? The answer is yes.
Okay. Have a question from Biju. Is TAL the automation tool used in the demo?
No, CBTA was used in the demo.
Okay. Question, well, a lot of questions today from Hugh Dang. Can I run multiple automated test packages in one machine?
You would, well, you know, it wouldn't be one machine. I mean, you have to have virtual machines, but you cannot run. You have to have one machine that's actually going to be displaying the script as it's running. So the answer would probably be no. But you know what we've done for those and other for the customers where we've implemented it is you set up different virtual machines or to do that, or remote machines. What I ran today was off of a remote machine, so I could have run that one on my desktop or one on my laptop and one on remote.
Okay. I do have several questions lined up, but we're coming to the top of the hour. This is going to be the last question. So from Mickey, can you connect to HPQC and have results written there?
The test results for test execution. No, you can't connect to HP and do that. There before 7.2, there was a integration between Solution Manager and HPALM, but where you could look at that. But that is no longer going to be part of what SAP is offering. So TAL and the integration is no longer there. So the test results would not go directly or be tied together.
Okay, thank you for the questions. I know I see some follow-up questions to replies that you have for Larry. We'll take this offline. I want to thank Larry and everyone today for attending the webinar. This is a part of a series of webinars that we'll be hosting, discussing topics regarding SAP Solution Manager. You can view our next webinars at corealm.com/webinars. We really appreciate your presence here today. And as I mentioned, we'll follow up with the questions that were asked today. And you also receive a follow-up email shortly with a link to view today's recording. Thank you. And on behalf of everyone here at CoreALM, thanks for joining us today and have a great weekend ahead.